Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Construction Tech-Tics. I'm your host, Tarika Jain, co-founder and business head at Encircle Tech, and I'm beyond excited to have you here in my episode today. We have another absolute treat lined up for you as we sit down with another powerhouse in construction tech. Our today's guest is Georgia Stillwell, the brilliant technical director at Alice Technologies. With over a decade of experience in project control for various projects, Georgia made a pivotal shift 5 years ago, diving into construction technology. Since then, she has been radically changing the industry with AI driven risk and scheduling tools, transforming how complex projects are managed globally. Georgia is a perfect blend of deep industry expertise and cutting edge innovation in construction. And her work has nothing short of, game changing. So whether you are sipping a coffee or on your commute or looking for a burst of inspiration, get ready for an insightful, fun, tech-filled conversation. I can't wait to dive into Georgia's journey and learn more about her. So let's jump in, shall we? Georgia, welcome to the show. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that very warm introduction.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to have you here, Georgia. So let's begin exploring your story. Everyone wants to hear, more about you and what led you to construction tech. We don't study construction tech, but it just happened to us. So would love to learn more about you and your story.
Yeah, thank you. So you're right. Nobody studies construction technology. So how did I get here? Well, actually, if we go way, way back, I'm from New Zealand and I grew up on a small farm in the middle of nowhere. And I was really disconnected from the city and opportunities. And this led me to be interested in cities and infrastructure, how they're planned, and how projects come to life. So I went and studied urban planning, but then went straight into working on one of New Zealand's biggest infrastructure projects. So it was great to get into the heart of projects very early in my career. But what I quickly learned, even as a young graduate, is that projects face a lot of delays, things don't go as planned, there's a lot of political interest. So that made me shift towards project risk management, trying to manage and control that risk. And in my early to mid 20s, I'd learned a lot about risk and was curious on what's next. Can we push this further? Because it was quite subjective based on people in the room, what they said. And that led to my switch into construction tech. So about 5 years ago, I joined a construction tech company focusing on forecasting risk based on huge data sets, which I really loved. And it was a shock to come into the innovation and startup world. I always tell people, I think it's like 3 years. Every 1 year in a startup is like 3 years in the real world, just at the speed of change. Then there I noticed that we were looking at risk on top of schedules and plans all the time. And I thought, what if that schedule is not perfect, which is pretty common. So then I moved to where I am now at Alice Technologies, and I went to the heart of AI planning and scheduling to try, wrangle with this core of a project, which is its plan or schedule to deliver what it's hoping to deliver.
Wow, wow. So you touched addressed the elephant in the room, AI. So how has industry changed since you started, maybe till date? What changes have you seen?
Yeah, so sure. When I started in construction tech, AI or publicly accessible AI wasn't as prevalent as it is today. So often companies were making their own AI, needed to find their own experts in machine learning and create their own models for delivering
Mhm.
AI. So really patented and specific models. Whereas what we see today is AI is much more accessible. ChatGPT changed the world. People understand now how they could apply this to their existing world. And as a result, we see a lot more kind of AI add-ons. So
Mhm.
maybe the base of the technology or the work they're doing isn't AI, but they're adding a AI agent to make it easier to search for information or collate information, which is more of a publicly open source AI. So I think in general, if I think about AI and how the industry has changed, for me, I've seen it go from a bit of a fear of like AI could take over the world and this Terminator vision to an acceptance of I can see how this works. I'm using AI when I use my Google Maps, my Spotify, all these very common technologies. And now people are starting to think about how can I apply this to everything I do, and kind of bringing it outside of their personal life, the Spotifys and the Google Maps, into I could probably use this for work as well. So I think people are starting to explore there. Not everyone's using it, but it's becoming more and more unleashed, let's say.
Yeah. And how, since you mentioned you are using AI in project risk management, so can you throw some light on how AI is getting used in this aspect?
Yeah, so with risk management, if we think back to actually just simple risk management of theft of stuff from someone's home, being burgled, how insurance companies calculate that is they're looking at data about crime, and then they're forecasting, how likely is it that any one person gets burgled. And I guess we're bringing that concept to projects. So if we have a lot of data about project performance, can we start to see, where those issues might be and forecast them before they happen? So it's about having a big data set, machine learning models that can read all of that and then apply it to maybe your unique project and the situation.
Wow, wow, that's quite a tech you're talking about. Wow, amazing. So, so this is AI already getting used, you are using AI, you are delivering AI solution to your customers. So what's the future you think about AI in construction, and what do you think will evolve in coming years, maybe next 5 years?
Yeah, so I think there is still a bit of fear about AI and a lot about the data security. I think the data security thing is valid.
Yeah.
But what I predict is people are going to see AI helping them with their everyday job. That instead of doing the kind of crunching or the grunt work part of their job, and if we think of scheduling or making a plan, that's making individual tasks, linking individual tasks, calculating durations. Instead of it being about that, that's what the AI will do. And what the
Wow.
human will do is add value on top of that, using this data to make better decisions or informed decisions for the project and less of the grunt work. So I think that's an easy win for kind of AI, is replacing the boring work and the grunt work while elevating the roles of construction professionals to do what they do best, which is bring their judgment for their unique site-specific issues with the data behind it backing it up.
Wow, wow, that's interesting. So you're saying large part of your project scheduling will be done by AI.
Yes, so
And
sorry, Tarika, you continue.
yes, I'm just, saying large part of your work will be done by AI. It is going to save hell lot of time for, people who are into scheduling, risk assessment. Uh, but that's amazing, but that sounds, scary also. Do you think people are scared about, their jobs,
Mhm.
or is it going to enhance their skills?
Yeah, so I think there's a range of mindsets with any technology. It doesn't matter if it's AI or not. There's the people that are like, this is exciting, I want to
Yeah,
try it. And then you
yeah.
have the people at the other end of the spectrum, which is, I already know my job, I'm doing a good job, I just want to keep doing that. Everything else is kind of a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with all of those mindsets, and in every group and every company, you have all of them.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, we're looking to, well, I don't think AI, at least the AI that I'm working on, it doesn't replace people. It's more about elevating their role, making it easier so they can focus their time on high value work as opposed to more data entry and data searching type of work.
Wow, wow, and so you have more than a decade, of years of experience in project management, risk management. what, based on your experience, what tips would you like to give, to the audience listening today?
Yeah, so if I think about plans, schedules, programs for projects, I think there's an obsession on making this perfect plan, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so far from reality. Like the plan, it will change and it's going to change. And so one tip that I'm trying to share is kind of think of the schedule as a living thing that's agile. Of course, there are hard rules or milestones you need to keep because there are penalties associated with them, but treat the
Mm-hmm.
rest as flexible. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
actually reflects the job site as well, as opposed to, seeing change as something that's bad, seeing change as something that's natural and part of the project life cycle, and using tools that actually, work with that change, that are agile to it and not kind of painful to work with when there's change. Another thing that I'm thinking about in risk is less about forecasting risk, which I think we're very obsessed with, and more about responding. So I've worked as a project risk expert and I've worked with many project risk experts, and everyone has a nice risk register of all their risks. And the part where it says, what are we doing about this is always like the detail seems to fade away. It's like, we'll deal with that when that happens. So I'm shifting my emphasis to that side on, more contingency recovery type plans in the framework of change as well. Like, so if we do have this issue, how can we be flexible and work in this framework while still, meeting the hard rules?
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. And this is, definitely amazing tips. Now, if you want to, bring construction tech into it, so could you please share some thoughts on, current status of, specific technology innovations that, your company is dealing, you are dealing, and in the market, and what do you like the most about them?
So for me, the market today, it's really expanding, especially
Mhm.
with more open source AI.
Mhm.
I feel like 5 years ago there are a few tools, and then every year it's like a firework chain reaction. There are more and more tools. And I think that won't continue forever. What will
Mhm.
happen, I expect, is then there'll be a bit of a balloon collapsing, and some companies will eat other companies because everyone's kind of doing one thing and there's
Mhm.
no real integration. So there are some amazing tools out there, but they're all like different apps that people go to do one thing in. And what I think will happen in the future is, there'll be maybe fewer companies, but they'll have more services or within the software, and it will be better linked together. Because to be honest, today the integration part is manual. People are taking the best part of this software and that software and then making a dashboard in Power BI. When that takes a lot of time, and I look forward to when there are tools that also do that for us.
Wow, wow. And so as you have moved from, being project manager to software develop, I mean, into software construction tech. So how do you approach a technology? How do you learn a technology, or how do you get into a technology? Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, so if we talk about that mindset of spectrums, I'm on the dive in spectrum, so it's hard to relate to everyone, but I'm really try it before you decide. Try it before you make an opinion. I think it's easy, maybe a human bias that we're afraid of the unknown,
Mm,
but often we can be surprised by the unknown. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You learn why it didn't work out and you can evolve from that. So I really encourage people to kind of test it, then form your opinion, and also kind of understand the journey of product development. So a lot of these tools and softwares that are in the construction tech space, they're not frozen in time. If you saw it in July last year, it could look completely different in July next year. And I don't think people are used to that. They're used to very stable software like Microsoft Word. It's been the same for 20 years. But to have this open mind to if it didn't work in July last year, maybe I should give it another test in
mm.
July next year, because things are moving so quickly that it's good to keep the door open and the mind open to the level of evolution we're seeing.
Wow, wow. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep experimenting with open eyes, open mindset. I think that's a very good tip. I really liked it for sure. And so it's been 13 years of experience, Georgia. And if you have an opportunity to go back in time and redo, what would you do differently?
Yeah, very good question. So back in time, I think I would maybe challenge the status quo or how things are done sooner. I think when you're a junior, you're like just looking to absorb from everyone and this is the way, and I just want to follow the way and be the best sheep out there to show that I'm competent. But actually, I think that the people coming out of university now, they have a lot of good ideas and new approaches. And for me, I'm much more as a manager and leader, I care about the outcome. How you got to it, I think, is up for grabs a lot of the time. So I'd encourage, people that are more junior to try those other ideas. And that might be with a different tool, etc. And then if the impact is the same or better, why not? And then my other piece of advice is to be bold and start something yourself. I mean, I haven't done this. I would like to do it. I still have dreams about doing it. But if you have an idea, run with it. There's not a lot to lose. And I think that some of the best products out there have started that way. So if you're sitting on the fence while you listen to this, back yourself, and it's okay to fail. So why not just try?
Yeah, yeah, lovely tip. And I always tell my people, it's okay to fail, but fail fast.
Indeed.
Yeah, so definitely very good message. Georgia, it's been a insightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing, your experience, your transition. And there's nothing to fear about. It's all just embracing it nicely, using it as your strength, and using it for your own efficiency. So, and your deep knowledge of project risk management, your work is truly impressive. I'm sure everyone has a takeaway from your story, from your talk, and anything that you want to add in the end for our audience.
I guess just a caveat that I'm not an AI expert, but an AI user and observer. So happy to be proven wrong on all my predictions. And maybe I'll listen back to this podcast in many years from now and think about, oh my God, we were only talking about really basic AI. So looking forward to be proven wrong about how much we can achieve.
And that's how people like you have been innovating and adding more into AI, AI waves. So what a what a fantastic chat, right? My guys, my audience. I hope you all enjoyed today's conversation. Georgia's story of transitioning from consulting to ConTech and her impact in shaping the future of project management with AI is incredible. You know, the way she's using, I'm sure in future years she'll be just the pro, you know, pro in AI, and we all are going to ask a lot of questions, lot more questions to Georgia about how AI is transitioning, helping, innovating project management and scheduling. um, at Encircle in my company, we are equally passionate about pushing the boundaries of innovation in construction tech using AI. We have our own tools that we have developed to help with AI-based dashboards, AI-based image processing, and chat GPT and everything. And Georgia's insight reminds me why it is so important to embrace the change and adopt new technology and solution, not to fear with them, rather use it for your own strength. So thank you, Georgia, for enlightening on this. Very important, as a lead Women Action Tech UK chapter, I'm excited to invite more incredible women to join our growing community. This is your chance to be part of our vibrant community where we connect, learn, inspire each other. We do a lot of meetups. Just scan the code at the end of this video to join our Women in Construction Tech community. Georgia is also part of our community. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, keep innovating, keep building, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in construction tech. Thank you.